Smart Band 7 Pro by Xiaomi has only been revealed in China, but you can easily buy it no matter where you live. Is this finally the so much wanted enhancement and upgrade to the traditional Mi Band series? One way to find out, let's inspect. Hey everybody, really good to meet you. Michael is my name. What we do on the channel is to traditionally inspect fresh and cool tech, and today we're here because of this. Yeah, this is Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro. And yes, Xiaomi's fitness trackers have finally reached their 7th generation, and we finally get to see a Pro variation, although at the moment of making this video, it's only available for the Chinese region only. So it's a non-global release, which might eventually turn into a global release, but not a fact yet. Therefore, a lot of web stores tend to offer the product kind of off the record, and you can easily buy it. But if I were you, I would seriously think twice in case I have to choose between the regular Xiaomi Smart Band 7 and the 7 Pro, because this minor software limitation can turn into quite serious drawbacks in real life performance. And I do think all the hype which was generated by these early reviews, which were so much praising the Band 7 Pro, that I don't know, probably that was just crawling towards more views, more fame, and just clickbait. But the truth is really behind these numbers, and this is exactly what we want to discuss right now in this episode. Is it worth getting the Chinese edition of the Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro? If we have to think of who the Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro is competing with, these would rather be mostly watches, like Huawei Watch GT2, the Huawei Watch Fit, Amazfit GTS series, even some Garmin GPS-based trackers and watches. If we look at the pack, a box which is not too different as compared to the regular Mi Band 7 in terms of colors, but the shape is unusual. We first take out the charging cable, which is very different to the magnetic pogo pin plug for the non-pro editions of this product line. Here's the band itself. First thing to notice, a buckle-based strap, which is like a dream come true in case you're a heavy Mi Band user like me. Much safer than the bottom version which the regular Mi Band is using. Design is kind of Huawei Band 7-like, with aluminium case and certain plastic areas, tempered glass to protect the screen as well. Now, since in this part we also cover the setup, very important to share with you is how it can work out. Download Mi Fitness from Google Play Store or Apple App Store, install and register, make sure that China is selected as a region, because otherwise it's very unlikely the Band 7 Pro to be discovered. At the moment I'm recording this video, the tracker is still only launched in China, remember that? I've seen some comments that linking to the Zepp app used by Amazfit wearables is also possible, however, never really tried it myself. It should take you no more than a few minutes to pair with your phone, and once this is done, the language will automatically switch to English if this is the primary language that you use on your smartphone. Specifications, I have to admit, the Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro excels in pretty much every possible way. A large 1.64-inch display, AMOLED with much better resolution, a lot of health tracking sensors and options, including heart rate monitoring, blood oxygen saturation monitoring, sleep and stress tracking. There's a 235 mAh inbuilt battery, GPS, NFC for payments, 117 track sports activities. It is ATM5 water resistant and weighs around 20.5 grams. These are indeed some specifications which sound amazing. If we have to rate the product just based on the specifications, I would say this is the killer deal of 2022. But at the same time, we're here because we want to learn the whole story about the real life experience. So to start analyzing, first of all, I do believe this tracker is not manufactured by Huami. And Huami, this is Xiaomi's sub-brand, which has been traditionally developing the Mi series up until now. The Pro edition is probably manufactured by 70mi. This is the company that has developed the Mi Watch series up until now, so hopefully software experience is on par with the expectations, although I can confirm that I was expecting certain features to be present and they didn't work so well. But first, I want to talk about the good things. Really serious upgrade is the display. It's very much in the shape of Huawei Band 7. It's very bright, it has better resolution and two key upgrades compared to the predecessors. First of all, it has always on-display support, which also the regular Mi Band 7 supports. Secondly, and that's huge, it has ambient light sensor. This is such kind of sensor which can analyze the environment and automatically adjust the brightness depending on the conditions where you are. The peak brightness is also very strong, putting to shame a lot of other wearables which are marketed as smartwatches. So, if we get to see a global edition of this tracker, it may cannibalize the sales of devices like Amazfit Bip and GTS, or Huawei Watch Fit and many others. I guess Xiaomi will be extra careful with their own sub-brands, like the already mentioned Amazfit, but also the Redmi and the Poco lines. Navigation and apps are very similar to the Mi Watch series. If you swipe down, you're gonna read the notifications. Swipe up to access all the apps, swipe right for the quick toggles, swipe left for the main cards. All of this is customizable, so are most of the watch faces, and you even have a shortcut to the fitness data if you press a specific area on the watch face. Not only that, but just as it is with the recent Amazfit Watch generations, you can start a countdown timer, you can go back in the main menu without exiting the timer, and once you need it back, just press this little dot on the top. That's right, kind of multitasking. Pretty useful, and this is yet another smartwatch-like feature. The amount of apps is traditional for such kind of trackers, and you can't install any third-party apps. We start the journey with the popular health tracking apps, the heart rate and the blood oxygen saturation measuring. You can explore in depth your sleep cycles. Accuracy is remarkable. Stress can also be measured, but take the results with a pinch of salt. There are a few productivity apps. Apparently there is no barometer, but there are 3 more apps on top of what we usually see with the global version software of the Mi Bands. Xiao AI, which is something like the Chinese version of Google Assistant or Alexa, Alipay, and WeChat Pay. The last 2 are available in China only, and for the domestic Chinese version, it wouldn't be possible to run payments with international cards like it is with Xiaomi Pay. So if somewhere someone tries to sell you the Chinese version of Xiaomi Smart Band 7 convincing you that it has NFC for payments, it's technically correct, but will never really work for you. As for the Smart Assistant, you really need to speak Chinese in order to make it work. The second key selling point about this fitness tracker is the availability of geo-positioning and the ability to have GPS, at least that's what's advertised. Actually, Xiaomi claimed that inside here we have support for GNSS, which represents support for GPS, Galileo, GLONASS and Beidou all at the same time, meaning that it should very easily fetch signal and be extremely accurate. During my testing, I never got more than 2 bars, and very often this thing was losing signal, and accuracy was far from ideal. And I guess there are 2 possible explanations about this behavior. The first one that could be that Xiaomi are mostly relying for the Chinese edition on the Beidou satellites, which are not covering very well the area where I live in Europe. Or secondly, that we might get an improvement at some point with a firmware update. You can see that when checking the workouts and the routes, there are areas which are mistaken by 5 to 10 meters, which is quite a significant deviation. On the other hand, a GPS inside a fitness tracker maybe sounds like we shouldn't expect that much out of it after all. If you wonder about the software for the smartphone, Mi Fitness, as currently the name for the app is, looks good, works good. The available data is plenty and it's really well organized. Heart rate analysis, SpO2 tracking, both you can pull continuously. Well, technically, these are samples that the tracker collects every several minutes. As usual, I would compliment the excellent way of tracking sleep cycles. You can be creative and add reminders, alarms, and many other productivity options. There are a few tracked activities that you can launch directly from the phone, and they will open the corresponding workout on the Xiaomi Smart Band 7 Pro, or just browse among them. Currently, there are 117 types of sports. Might be that some updates are going to bring even more. Although I consider myself being a rather active person in terms of sports, I never use more than 7 or 8 out of all these. Still, always nice to have a variety of these workouts. Watch faces are also to be adjusted and downloaded via the app. There are not as many as these for the regular Mi Band series, but I guess their amount is going to grow in time. My third big disappointment with this device is actually the battery life. Very unfortunately, I can only count up to 3 to 4, maybe sometimes 5 days of battery life, and that's even without always on display. Yes, everything else is being tracked, but I do nothing which is so much different compared to the regular Mi Band 7, and with it I get almost 8 days. And that's been quite surprising, although physically the battery inside is much bigger as compared to the non-Pro model. But during my research, I figured out that every morning when I wake up, there's either a different watch face, or probably it's running an app like the SpO2 tracking or the HR tracking, so I assume that there's something like ghost touches happening during the night, and if that's the case with you, maybe you can try to enable the screen lock feature. The other suboptimal areas, like the GPS signal strength, the lack of global smart assistant, and the inability to use credit cards like MasterCard or Visa, and the last two are valid only because I test the Chinese-made edition. In the end, I would only recommend buying this in case it either gets a global version, or if you really are sure that you want to get in this adventure of buying something which is designed for the Chinese domestic market. Because if we put aside the really nice upgraded display, the remaining additional features are not bringing that much of value. The GPS is rather unreliable, the NFC chip is there, but it's only available for Alipay and WeChat Pay, which are two features you can't use outside China, and the remaining features are about the same as a regular Mi Band series. So if this happens to get a proper global release with better signal reception, with NFC and Xiaomi Pay services which are available worldwide, yeah, that would obviously be the killer deal, and it would seriously disrupt the market for feature or not so smartwatches in the price range between $100 and $180. So I'm really looking forward to see all these developments in the next months, and yeah, hopefully there's gonna be finally eventually a global version. Hey, that's been everything about today's episode, hopefully useful. If you happen to have any other questions, be invited. Comments are down below, link to the product somewhere in the video description. My name is Michael, wishes for a fantastic day, stay fit, and I'll see you in the next one.